Say what you want about Dragon Ball The Breakers. You can't deny this. You can, in fact, turn yourself into Super Saiyan 4, open parentheses, Beast, close parentheses. Today we're going to be talking about Beast Gohan. First impressions before you get right into it is that it's going to be a very nice leader. It's a unique leader in both sides, both before transforming and after into his Beast form. We don't have a base on Gohan from SH yet, so we could have some unique animations that would be interesting to see. Very excited for that. Additionally, this is an SH card, so the support that we got, Orange Piccolo, that came out 2 sets ago, will also be able to be used in this deck, as well as the new key mechanic. And, you know, of course, now we're going to be talking about the key mechanic for the first time in this channel. At the front side, he is a very interesting leader. When he attacks, he draws a card, and he does not have a life condition. Technically, he could awaken at 8 life. This is not really realistic to happen. You're probably going to take at least 1 or 2 hits, especially since you're playing green and your opponent wants to rush you down before you get to do your deadly stuff. It does not have a life restriction. It does, however, have a key restriction, and that is that if this leader has 2 or more key, you can flip immediately, right? When you flip, very basic leader, he gets plus 5k when attacking, or I guess not when attacking, it's just permanent. Your leader's always going to be a 25k just on his offensive turn, and then when attacking, you draw a card and then you gain a key. This leader, just based off these conditions alone, is going to be a lot better than Orange Piccolo, because while Orange Piccolo's ability is better late game in terms of being able to deflect and attack, this Beast Gohan being able to awaken early and become a 20k instead of a 15, making it harder for your opponent to swing into you, seems a lot more effective than what Piccolo would be, because Piccolo does want to stall the game, but if Piccolo was a 20k while trying to stall the game, he'd be a lot better at it, you know what I mean? So you can basically stall a lot better just because you're adding plus 5k on your defensive turns when you're awakening. We also have the alternate arts. I think that this is rare, but I think that the star art mogs the other one in both the front and the back. I think it looks really nice, and you know, it's a really cool leader overall. We're gonna start off with this Gamma 1. Very simple effect. Leader has 3 or more key. This card gets plus 10k power. Seems like a relatively useless card. Green is not really much of a rush down deck. Not really good for what Green wants to do. Green wants to play their big bodies and really oppress the board with massive power, and this just straight up does not cut it, especially when you have to have 3 or more key. This is very reminiscent of Android 16? No, it's 19. Android 19. You'd much rather run that than this, and that card sucks to today's standards, so you can imagine. We got an SR. Notice that when they do this in terms of putting the slash in 2 different card names, it counts for the 2 different card names in search conditions. This is just a standard critical, and if and when you play it, your leader gets plus 1 key. This is a very nice card for multiple reasons. Number 1, finally, an Android traded card that is not leader locked to SH in terms of, you know, being gammas, and you can use this on other decks like Android 17 and 18 or Cell. Now both Android 17 and 18 and Cell don't really benefit much from key because, again, it's a new mechanic and these old leaders don't really use it, but in the future it's nice to have these, you know, cards that you can add key to other leaders other than the SH package, just to be able to play different cards that you might want to play again in the future. Though right now it's not really that useful. This alt art looks amazing. I really like it. The other one just looks like a cop-out from Dokkan Battle. Like, it just seems like they just took the art straight from there. But this one, it looks really, really nice. I really like it. We got this Gamma 2. If your leader has 3 or more key, choose the 1 battle card cost 3 or less and KO it. This might seem like a bad card, but it's actually really good. You gotta remember that one of Green's best cards is the 5 cost Son Gohan Childhood that KOs a 4 cost or less, and that's very important because Green just wants some very good standard removal. Now, this is kind of like a card that you add to counter your opponent. You don't really use it for much of your regular tech. You use it as an answer to things they might play. You don't really keep this to play normally, but when your opponent plays something 3 cost or less that you want to KO, this is a good line to take. Though the effect, you know, if you have 3 key or more, is a bit of a restriction. Like, it's very, very hard to get to that. Though if you awaken early, I guess no, not really, because every turn you're gonna be getting a key when you attack with your leader. So this is basically gonna come out instantly. Like, it's not even gonna be much of a condition. And again, it is an Android card with no SH condition, so you can run this on other cards like Android 17 and 18 and Cell. So yep. Very good. We got this Krillin blocker. Leader is 3 or more key. Draw 2 cards and discard 1 card from your hand. You can do your turn and then activate this effect, which can matter, especially if you're running low on key. You can just get it back up, and then you can activate the KO effect on your opponent's turn. But this card won't really activate much, actually being beneficial to you, because the 1 KO effect is nothing crazy. You're not going to be running this on Gohan, you're going to be running this more on Orange Piccolo, because this card, you can use the redirect on this to be able to take advantage of the 1 KO. But it is also a very high body, and you want KO effects to be low power, ironically enough, because you want them to be easier to KO. We got this Kefla. Plays 3 cards from your energy to the owner's drop, and then you add 2 green battle cards from your drop to your energy, and then when attacking, you add it to 1 card from your life to your hand. This is a very good card, and you're going to be using it on basically every low-range green deck, even something unorthodox like BR Broly, because you can get charged to 5 energy, and then you can place the 3 and then get 2 back. So you play this essentially for 1 energy, and then you still have 4 energy on top of that, while also being able to use all of it. You know what I mean? So this card can help out in those decks. This is intended to be support for Giblet. It is also nice to mention that you can play on every other deck like that, like Vegeta. I guess you can also run this on Super Saiyan Namek Goku if you're really feeling frisky. It's just a really good overall card. A lot of green decks are going to be playing it. Very nice. Also a 10k, so there's not really any disbenefit to running it in your decks. And of course, since they didn't leader lock it, you can run this on basically every green deck. But let's talk about this Gotenks. This Gotenks is an instant run 4 of in every single SH deck, even Piccolo. On play, your leader gets +1 key, and if your leader has 3 or more key when you attack, it gets 5k power. You're not going to be using the when attacking effect, you're going to be using the on play effect mostly, because your leader wants to get as much key as possible, and then you give this leader key, and then it becomes a great turn. This card actually makes it so that the Gohan deck and the Piccolo deck can finally get convenient energy marker breaking turns, because usually with green you don't want to be second because breaking marker doesn't feel great. Piccolo did kind of have an answer to this, which was to, play the 4 cost SR, but for most green decks this feels rather inconvenient. Fortunately for Gohan, it'd be nice, because then you can in your second turn you can play this turn 1, and then by breaking marker for it, and then on turn 2 you can play it again because it's a 2 cost, so you can then awaken on your second turn, which is very, very nice. And then we obviously, for some reason, start with the alt art and then this art. I mean, I don't really like it either way, but I guess I'll take the one with Cell Max doing the yikes pose, if you can see it right here. This is unironically the most important and most card I'm excited for in this entire set. You might think I'm out of my rocker. It's a genuine draw 1 card Android cantrip. Why is this important? If you've been paying attention to the video, I mentioned Cell and 17 and 18 a lot. Will you believe me? Will you believe me if I told you that in the 2 years this game is released, this is the first standard draw 1 cantrip we've ever gotten for androids? Let that sink in. It's been waiting outside for a very long time. Be a good guest. It is actually ludicrous. Before the cantrips you had to run with androids was Dr. Gero and Android 18. And both of those cantrips were searchers that sucked. Gero more than 18 because it had to find 17 and 18 cards, but they both were horrible. Because a lot of the cards that androids wanted to play, which was like the 8 cost Broly, 8 cost Cell, 8 cost Beast Gohan, were not only not meeting the cost restriction, they weren't even android cards. I mean, Cell, yes, but he didn't meet the cost restriction. Neither was he a 17 or 18 card. So a lot of the big bodies that you had, you wouldn't be able to pick up with the Searcher. But now that it's just a standard no shenanigans draw card, the decks, they go up. They go massively up. They lose their ability to whiff, and that is very important because, it makes the green android decks a lot more consistent. I'm instantly replacing the 18 Searcher for this 18 instead. And it's not leader locked. Finally. finally, dude. It is very nice that we're getting this card. Did I get a call? Dude, hold on. Give me a second.
Oh, Caddy!
Next, we're going to be talking about this Sun Goten. It's just a very standard blocker. It is a 5k, 10k attack power. Sorry, I got it backwards. It's 5k attack power, 10k combo. Very not great card overall. It's nice for the late game just to kind of survive for a little bit. Like maybe it might be inconvenient for the opponent to remove a 1-cost blocker or something along the lines of Caulifla, but this is very easy to remove. Red can just do a minus 5k, blue can just bottom it, black can just KO it, yellow can just rest it. Like, I mean, green it'd be nice against, because then green has to go out of his way to try to find a way to KO a 1-cost blocker, which can be very inconvenient. Gimmick card that you're not going to be playing much aside from, you know, cheap defense. Permanent opponent's turn, we got this Sun Gohan. If your leader has 3 or more ki, this card can't be KO'd, and then your leader gets +1 ki. This card goes crazy with Orange Piccolo, because you play this card on Orange Piccolo and then you ramp up your ki. If your Piccolo has 3 or more ki, then you can redirect any attack to this. And then since the KO counts as being swung into, it'll basically reflect an attack and stay alive. Though you can't really use the Piccolo's effect more than once, so that won't really matter in terms of reflecting multiple attacks. But, I mean, it's nice to get a card that can't be KO'd and, like, really buffs Piccolo. So, it's not going to really be great in Gohan, because, I mean, getting a card that doesn't KO is nice, but ultimately, whatever. But Piccolo is going to be having a field day with this one. And this is why you would want to ramp ki with Piccolo as well. Here is a standard card that you're going to be playing both on SH and Gohan. Sorry, SH and Gohan. Orange Piccolo and Gohan. This is going to be basically, quote-unquote, your win condition, or like when the energy that you get to start playing the game, which is 5. You place this card in battle area to the owner's drop, and then if your leader is SH and you're 3 or more ki, you play a Sun Gohan, then you can't play battle cards. The main targets for this one are going to be the Double Strike, as the Secret Rare Beast Gohan that we've got previously. The main target is going to be the Double Strike that we're going to talk about soon enough. But the other one is not bad because of the new extra that we got previously. You could also use it with cards that we have right now. Like, for example, if you're at 1 life and 5 energy somehow, you can play this card, and then you can play the Secret Rare Beast Gohan. Beast Gohan restands you 5 energy, which you can use to use Hidden Potential, I think it is, or Latent Potential, or the Guru Heal 2 is the card that I'm thinking about. Hold on, I'm getting another call. Can you stop sending me hellos, guys? Okay. So anyway, so what was I talking about again? The thing I'm trying to say is that if you're playing the Secret Rare, the only thing you can play is extras. But if you play Double Strike, as you'll see, you'll be able to set up for an extra a lot more effectively. But this card is very important. This is an instant run 4 of Gohan and Piccolo deck, because it is essentially when you're going to be able to start playing the game. As well as there's another promo that does basically the same thing, but it's a 10k combo. That one's also a run 4 of, so you can get essentially 8 of these. So we got this SH, this is the Gohan I was talking about. It's a Double Strike. On play, you reduce the ki of your leader by 1, and place 1 energy to the owner's drop. This is a condition that you have to meet. You can tell by the 2 dots. It also shows that the condition is optional. You choose 1 card and KO it. You add up to 1 extra from your drop, and then you can basically add a card with cost 3 or more from your drop to your energy. So essentially, if you place a card from your drop to your energy that's cost 3 or more, you just get to place it back immediately, and it comes in stud. So you can play this card plus 1 energy. In general, I'm really glad how they balanced this card. This is supposed to be like the polar opposite of the Secret Rare that I was talking about earlier. It has a couple of benefits. It has a Double Strike. The other one's not a Double Strike. It picks up an extra. The other one doesn't pick up an extra. The negatives, you reduce ki just to activate its effect. It is a KO. It is not a sent to drop, which means it does not ignore KO effects. And it only restands 1 energy rather than the 5 that the other one restands. So there's a couple of negatives and benefits. Out of the 5 costs that we were talking about earlier, the 8 cost Double Strike is 100% going to be your best target. Number 1, when it swings to the Double Strike, which is better than the single strike, of course. And second of all, since you're not going to be playing the any battle cards and just using extras, it is just better to pick up an extra and set up for an next turn. I actually do like this art better than the other one. I don't know, I just don't like the kick from Gohan. Usually those arts aren't really my cup of tea, but this one looks very, very nice. I really like the Makanko Sapo. Dr. Hedo, this card is not going to be great. For 4 energy, you place this card in battle area to the owner's drop, and then you play 1 Gamma and 1 Gamma 2 SH with a combined cost of 5 or less from your hand. If it was from your drop, we'd be talking. But since it's from your hand, all you can do is just wait until you're at 5 energy and then play this instead. All this does normally is cheat you an energy for one card cost, which is not worth it. Because you also got to remember that you got to play this Hedo and then play the Gamma and then you got to play Gamma 1 and then a Gamma 2, all from your hand. So you're going -3 instead of just waiting for 5 energy where you can just play them. So in overall, this card seems rather bad. I don't think you're going to be playing this, but you know, at least it's nice to have. We're getting this Trunks SH as well. This is the stand-in, or I guess, I wouldn't say reprint, but like a different version of the Kami that we've gotten from previous sets. You choose one battle card, cost more or less in KO. This is going to be very important for your early game. It's going to be running on a lot of regular green decks. It's a good standard green card, and it's nice to get a different traded Kami. Now, Kami is going to be better overall because, you know, there's things that you can use to take advantage of the condition. Like, for example, regular Piccolo from set 3 wants to play Kami because it can ramp it using the other Piccolo that ramps a Kami. And there's not really any cards that do make conditions with Earthling or Saiyan. If you're feeling frisky, if you're feeling special, you can play this card on Green Cell with Tragedy and Ginger Town package, and then ramp this card because the Raditz that ramps Earthling is Earthling only, but I don't know if Ginger Town is Earthling only, which can be nice, but Cell doesn't really want that package anyway. But it's important to mention. This pan is very good for tech that we're going to talk about later. Place this card in a battle area into the owner's drop. If your leader has 3 or more key, choose the one Piccolo SH in your battle area and choose it to active mode. Now the main targets for this are going to be the new promo that we're getting. They're going to be the main target, because that card is insane. I hate it a lot, but I mean, it's in the game. Going to be the 5 cost SR blocker. It's also going to be a 4 cost that we're going to talk about in this set, right? This overall is a very good card. Being able to swing multiple times for 3 energy, especially when you can activate when attacking effects multiple times, is very, very good, even if it's just to the blocker. But yeah, this is a very good standard card. It is not an instant run 4 of. It depends on how you build the deck list. If you're running a lot of Piccolos and you can take advantage of his ability, then maybe it's a 4 of, but you also got to remember that it's a 3 cost SH card, so you can KO this and then add it back to your energy with 4 cost SR. We got this super combo for Pan. It feels like a lot of overlap. This is going to be mostly a useless super combo because we already have the Sun Gohan that is both a Saiyan and an Earthling, and it's an SH card, so there's like 100% overlap. The only difference is that this is a Pan card and not a Gohan card, so maybe if we get a card that you have to find with Pan, that might be like a different alternate tech, but for the most part, the super combo is mostly worthless. This art is just kind of like the cop-out of Legends. If you know, you know. It looks worse for this, which is rare. Well, I guess it's not rare because a lot of the other premium arts, it's just that in this set, the premium arts have been rather lacking. But if you're a memer, I don't know what to call it. If you're someone who likes to play jokes and you're a Legends fiend, this card might be a little bit more recognizable. We got this Videl. This feels like an instant run 4 of. If your leader is 3 or more key, choose it to 1 battle card in your opponent in your battle area and it gets plus 10k. This is not number one. Remember or realize this is not a leader lock card. You can play this with any leader as long as they have 3 or more key. Number 2, it gets any battle card. It has no restrictions, and it's a blocker that also is a 10k. This is an instant run 4 of in the Piccolo and Gohan deck, and it might be an interesting tech in other decks. This is a very good standard card. I'm a very big fan, and it especially synergizes really well with the Pan that we talked about previously, which is the 3 cost, because you can restand a Piccolo, and if you buff a Piccolo with the Videl that we just talked about earlier, you'll be able to get multiple swings at a very high power, especially with the SR blocker Piccolo. The Piccolo is basically guaranteed to survive until next turn, prevents removal from the battle area, so it protects you and basically stays alive. So you can play this Pan and then the Videl on the same turn, and then you can swing twice for 40, which is very, very nice. Very oppressive and powerful for what you want to do with the tech. Vanilla cards, always nice to get these. It's also a 3 cost or more SH card, which can help with the collection of the SR, though you're not really going to be playing it aside from other cards. Nothing really good to mention there. We got this blocker Piccolo. Opponent's turn, leader is 3 or more key. This card gets 10k power. This card would be very nice to play with Gohan because it means that you can use the blocker effect to redirect, which would be very nice because you want to be blocking attacks, right? And it's also obviously nice for the Piccolo, though not as much, because you can block with the 30k and then redirect with the 30k. So, it's always nice to have that option. But yeah, this is just going to be a very standard card. It's not going to be an instant run 4 of, but it's a very good, interesting tech card that allows you to survive for longer, which you want to do with green decks anyway, right? We got the Altar. On play, you look at top 5 cards, you move to 1 extra, 1 SH, and then you add the rest to the bottom of the deck. When attacking, your leader also gets 1 key. So when you restand this with the Pan, the 1 attacking effect procs twice, so you can give your leader 2 key. So yeah, this card's very nice. It replays itself, almost impossible for it to not get value, and this is, I think, is a 4 of run because of the 10k, and it's just a very good standard card. We got the other art. I think that, let me look at the other one again. I like, this looks like more of a Cell Max art. I like this art better because, it's the showdown. It's just a personal preference, but I think I like that one better. We got the Broly Go-Go. I'm a really big fan of this card. This is intended to be Giblet support, though since it's not leader locked, you can play this on every deck instead of having to restrict yourself to stupid conditions, right? So it's just an on-play, add up to 1 life. And then when attacking, you draw 2 cards and then discard 1. This is very effective for the Giblet effect because number 1, since it's a energy effect, you can restand your energy and then use the energy that you get from your leader ability. And then number 2, since you're discarding a card, you can get it back up with your leader ability. So, very nice there. You can play it at 3 and then if you're at 5 life and then you're at 3 energy, you can play this and then add it to life and then awaken and then use the 1 attacking ability to draw 2 cards and discard 1. Then with the card you discarded and the card that you're going to discard with the leader ability, you can use your leader ability and then replay 2 battle cards, and then you can, do some other 2 energy turns, which is very nice and very optimal for the Giblet deck. You can also run this on the Vegeta deck, and since it's a Saiyan card, you can also play this off of the Vegeta leader ability. You can also play this if you're feeling really frisky on other early game decks like Broly BR, since it's a very good just standard card. This Vegeta, on the other hand, sucks. It's a very bad card. If your leader is a Saiyan only card, which is Giblet and Vegeta, I don't think Broly BR counts because he might be from Planet Vampa. Trollis definitely doesn't count because he's great at Showdown, but neither here nor there. Add 1 card from your life to your hand and discard 1 card from your hand. So essentially what you're doing is you're critting a life, or you're scrying a life to your drop. Then you choose 1 battle card with a cost 2 or less and KO it. So this is essentially kind of a Saiyan version of the critical life TN, which I guess is an okay card to run occasionally. So it's not an instant like loser card because you might want to KO stuff early and not have to deal with them. But for the most part, like critting a life to KO a 2 cost or less is not really worth it. If it was like something at a higher cost, like 3 costs or less, then we'd be talking. But critting a life just for equal KO, not really worth it. No, I wouldn't say. This is the Shenron section I was talking about. This is probably my favorite card of the entire set just because it's all you had plus a little bit extra. You active main, you draw a card, and then you play a Piccolo SH with cost 5 or less from your hand. Then your leader gets 1k. This is an instant run 4 of, especially if you have SR Piccolo. It's giving you draw value and key value just by playing the Piccolo that you would play anyway. So for the same cost of playing the blocker, you can draw a card and then get a key, which is very, very valuable, especially in the Piccolo deck, especially in the Piccolo and Gohan deck. Very, very nice. We also got Special Rune Cannon. This is our first of 2 new SR rarity extras, which we've never gotten before, which is very nice. Draw a card and your leader gets +1 key for the active main for 1 energy. So you're playing this essentially for 2 energy to draw a card and then your leader gets 1 key, which is a very nice effect, especially since, again, you get turns that you can do by breaking marker in your first turn as the second player. So you can play this on turn 1 if you're going second, and then play this on turn 2 if you're going second, so you can awaken on turn 2. Active battle, remove all key from your leader. You cannot choose how much key you remove. You have to remove all the key, which is very important to mention, especially since most of your effects activate from key, so it's important to, keep that in mind. Your cards that are in battle get 10,000 power for the battle for each key you remove by the skill, which can be very powerful. Just by the fact that you are awakening, you need at least 2 key for that, so even just removing the 2 key is plus 20k, which for 1 energy is very, very powerful. Then if you remove 4 or more key, you can choose 1 Son Gohan SH in your battle area and switch it to active mode. Now, since it's battle area, it does not count your leader, unfortunately, but it is important to mention that you can choose the double strike for this, and then a double strike swings twice. Now, this effect unfortunately, is not that great. Because since you're swinging first with the card, and then you have to activate the activate battle effect, you remove all your ki. Let's say that you're doing this on the double strike Gohan, and you have 4 ki. Double strike becomes a 90k, and then it gets restood. Then your opponent takes the hit, say they're at 3 or 4, and then you can restand the double strike to try and kill him the next turn. Or this turn. Then you've already gotten all your ki down, your abilities won't be able to proc, and you have already used your most powerful extra to be able to close out the game. So the restand ability is not great, unless you're trying to combo out a rest mode card that you have on your field. Now, obviously this is like being able to do 40k and then restanding a card is nothing to sneeze at, especially for just 1 energy. It isn't really great. You do want to run 4 of course, because of the active main effect, but the active battle leaves a lot to be desired. You can get a bunch of cool Twitter clips by getting a bunch of ki into your energy and then making a 200k double strike swing. So, you know, it's good for Twitter, not good for the game. I really like this art, though. This art is a lot better than the other one. I'm a really big fan of the alt art. Okay, and that's it. That was all the cards. Now, the promos, I haven't been mentioning them before, but there are promos for the game. I guess I'll make an alternative video on it. Final thoughts. After reading all the cards for Gohan. You might be surprised to hear that I actually don't think Gohan is going to be that powerful. It looks like he's going to struggle with the same thing as Piccolo, which is getting everything started early. In this environment, especially with the new cards that we've gotten, their like powerful turns are 2, 3 energy. They're already awakened and ready to go at that energy. And they've already set up a really pretty penny of a board that you have to address basically right then and there. But by 3 energy, Gohan is just getting started with his rampant abilities. So, and then you realize that you have to wait until 5 energy to start doing anything too crazy. And then you realize, oh wait, Gohan is just going to end up dying. He's very, very susceptible to rush down and being outdrawn, especially when you consider that since with this new ki mechanic, your draw power is going to go down because Piccolo wants to play a lot of draw power. Like, for example, Piccolo normally in the early game plays a lot of cantrips and a lot of draw power that he just combos out and then keeps his hand healthy while also defending swings. Gohan wants to play the Special Beam Cannon, which is a draw 1 extra, which means that it leaves no bodies on board to defend. Or he wants to play this Gotenks SH, which does not draw. So you're essentially losing out on draw power and you're making your leader weaker just to be able to do your awakening turn faster. You're also going to be wanting to get ki with Piccolo anyway, so you're also going to be playing these cards on Piccolo as well. So Piccolo's going to lose out on a lot of his draw power to activate these new powerful abilities. So overall, it looks like Gohan is going to struggle, be able to activate his abilities at the start of the game, and then he's going to lose because he's not going to be able to start much up anyway. Obviously, just like Piccolo, if he can get everything started, he's going to be borderline unstoppable. Number 1, because he's green, and green has a lot of good ramp that allows him to play very powerful big cards. And number 2, because the extra is, even though it doesn't synergize well with what Gohan wants to do, it is still a very, very good extra. Nothing to sneeze at. But yeah, if I were to give it a rating, obviously things can change. Let me mention that before I give it the rating. Obviously things can change. The decks can be better than I anticipated or even worse than I anticipated. So we'll have to look in the client and see how it actually performs. But as a final rating, before we get to see it in the game, I give it a 5. Or if I'm feeling generous, a 6, just because this deck can either fail tremendously or set up the board and be unstoppable. So I guess the middle ground in that would be 5 out of 10. But yeah, really liking the Giblet support and the overall Saiyan support. That's my favorite, No, that's not true. My most interesting and my most favorite part about the entire deck is going to be this Android 18. Let's not get it twisted. The androids finally, after 2 years, a draw 1 cantrip android. Can you believe it? Anyways, nothing else new to mention. Next, we'll be talking about Yellow. We're talking about Yellow and the Gogeta deck. And, we'll get to the promos when we get to them.